Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we'll be doing the hero spotlight for Lucius, the boss for the Crimson Order. He will be the second hero available for the faction. It is still a little too early to distinguish where these heroes are going to be usable, but we'll cover his stats, his abilities, and have a bit of a mess around in the arena as well. They have synergy with the Crimson Order and the Archons, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So let's get into it with his stats. Coming in at completely maxed out, he has just shy of 25 million, speed 227, armor 466k, magic damage resistance 548k, basic damage is 2.7 million, critical hit chance is 42%, and critical damage is 4.6 million. And the in-depth stats are here. Feel free to stop it and take whatever information you want and use it how you see fit. So we'll jump over to the arena now and have a look at this hero and Benedict as well. They're the only two, but we'll throw some Archons in to just get a bit of a feel of how they're going to play. Jumping into the arena, we are going to look at Lucius's skills awakened. If you do not plan to awaken them, remove that text from the skill description. Covering his basic cleansing blade. Before every hit, it has a 40% chance per allied Archon and Crimson Order member to remove one debuff from the caster. Performs 2 merely physical strikes on the target. Awakening, there is a 50% chance that another random ally will perform a support attack on the same target. So in terms of a basic ability, has fairly good utility. Assuming you are always going to be running him on a Crimson Order / Archon team, this ability has a 100% chance to cleanse him of a debuff, but it's not just one. The ability strikes twice, removing 2 debuffs from him. So we'll go ahead and look at the animation of the ability, and we should have 2 debuffs removed from him after it. So he's got 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's have a look. So he goes ahead and attacks. Beautiful, beautiful. We get the support attack. We do not. And we have 5 debuffs. We had 7, we got 5, 2 removed. Wonderful. So in terms of cleansing, really good for him. But keep in mind, if you could run a Sacrif on the team, and Sacrif does have the ability to cleanse debuffs and add debuff immunity. However, it's not always active, so this skill could be nice to slip in when it's not active to keep himself cleansed of any harmful negative effects. Moving on to Lucius's next ability, and strap in because there's a lot of explaining to do here. For every allied Crimson Order member, cast 2 stacks of an effect that increases the damage of his next hit by 100%. 1 stack is removed after the hit, so that buff is applying only to Lucius. The next dot point states performs a ranged physical attack on all enemies. The third dot point, now this is where strap in. This is where you need to be strapped in. Casts Desertion on 4 random enemies. The target skips their next turn and transfers it to a random enemy. After the enemy's turn, the target restores initiative to 100%. The effect dissolves after triggering. Now, when it says enemy, it doesn't mean your enemy. It means the enemy of your enemy. So, you cast Desertion on an enemy. When their turn comes around, they skip their turn and they transfer 100% of their initiative to one of their enemies, which is you. You then get to perform an ability, and then the enemy of you, the AI, will then perform their move. So, it's a lot to it. So, Desertion is attached to an enemy. They, instead of having their turn, let you have a turn, and then once you have your turn, then they get to have their turn. So there's 3 steps to it. They skip, you move, then they move. So there's a lot to it. The last part, cast 3 stacks of an effect that increases the damage of the next hit by 100% on all allied Archons. 1 stack is removed after the hit. The Awakening revives or receives more stacks of damage increase. Damage is increased by 50%. Cast Desertion on more enemies. So the 4 enemies is the awakened version of it. So it will be less when not awakened. So it is a menacing ability. So we're going to go ahead and cast it here. We'll take it down to a 1x speed. We'll cast the ability. There we go. Bang, bang, bang. You can see the Desertion on the Drake there. It did not apply to others. It is a debuff. It can be fortified. It can miss as a whole bunch of things. But yeah, that is how it works. It is, in most cases, very powerful. But remember, it is a debuff. It can be cleansed. It can be cleared. is very interesting. It's very powerful. It's the first time we've seen something like this. So it'll be interesting to see how this works in actual combat. Moving on to Lucius's third ability, we have Crushing Onslaught. Increase special ability cooldown of 3 random enemies by 3 turns. Performs 2 melee physical strikes on all enemies, then performs a melee physical attack on the target with the lowest current HP. After using the ability, its cooldown is reduced by 1 for every miss and dodge to a minimum of 2. Awakening this, damage is increased by 10%. Increased special ability cooldown of more enemies. So again, the 3 enemies is the awakened version. Now, this is very interesting. There is one thing about this ability I do not like. I'm just going to state it straight up, and that's the fact that it's 3 random enemies getting their cooldowns locked. I'd rather it just be 1 enemy, which you pick, instead of 3 random ones. I just don't like RNG. I've stated it before. I will always state it, but we'll go ahead and look at the animation of the ability. It is a 1 time. There we go. Bing, bang, big damage, and then there we go. Saved by Azariel, but Loki did have the least amount of HP, and as you can see, he got struck for a 3rd time. So very interesting. Lots of damage. He has huge damage potential, that's for sure. Going over his leadership ability, and we have a wall of text, so let's get into it. Zealous Devotion. If an allied Crimson Order member deals damage with a basic attack, it has a 40% chance of casting Desertion on the target. Allied Archons and Crimson Order members receive 1 level of Devotion to the Order the first time their HP goes below 75, 50, and 25% of the maximum. At level 1, the ally receives 10 stacks of an effect, reducing damage taken by 50%. 1 stack is spent each time damage is taken. At level 2, the ally receives Irremovable Flame of the Retribution. If this ally receives damage and their HP goes below 30%, a random enemy receives damage equal to the amount of HP missing. This effect is removed after triggering. At level 3, the ally receives 100% of initiative and speeds up by 70% for 2 turns. Also, allies at level 3 of Devotion reset at the beginning of a new wave. The effects persist until triggering and can gain levels again. Awakening increases chance to cast Desertion, receives more stacks of damage reduction at level 1 of Devotion up to the Order, and the ally receives more initiative at level 3. So this obviously has huge beneficial traits in wave-based content. At the moment, there wouldn't be much. COC would be probably the only place you can use it, since there's no raids that specifically need these heroes. I'm sure they will be. To be honest, they seem like a very raid-based team. I feel like you can get a lot out of them for a raid, but they have a lot going on, a huge amount going on for them. And since they're cross-faction with the Archons, who knows how people are going to play this. But this is a lot going on in a leadership ability, and it has a lot of utility. So yeah, very interesting. Finally, we have his passive Justice of the Order. Every hit from Lucius will deal additional melee physical damage to the target, equal to 55% of his basic damage. Increases damage of allied Archons by 110% and their HP by 100%. When an enemy performs a counter or support attack, they lose 4 buffs. Buff is removed before the attack. Has a 33% chance per allied Archon or Crimson Order member to ignore initiative reduction effects. Has a 33% chance per, so you can get that to 100% as well. Again, you're not running this character outside of Archon / Crimson Order. You could, I just don't see where or why you would. Awakening this, additional damage is increased, removes more buff stacks from enemies who perform a counter or support attack. The chance of ignoring initiative reduction is increased. So overall, a pretty hefty utility-based leader. Yeah, I don't have much to say, to be honest. I don't know the other characters for the faction. I don't know how they're going to play. At the moment, we can only test them with the Archons, and with 2 Crimson Order characters out, it's very hard to mix and match. The Archons are such a staple faction. When they were first released, they was very OP, but at the moment, when you look at them, what do they really offer? It's ridiculous saying that. Like, what do the Archons offer? Really? Oh my god, how times have changed. But yeah, it would be very interesting to see. There is one skill I remember reading that had an effect that allowed the character to work well with Argon, I believe it was. Argon or Steris. So they are working very hard on synergy. So it'll be very interesting to see if we get use out of these characters that we've normally never really played with. But I read it so long ago, it could have completely changed by now. But we'll jump into a quick battle. We're just going to verse the Dark Elves, since this is what the Archons were initially built for. Since we don't have a full Crimson Order team, we're just going to pretend they're the new Archons and chuck them up against the Dark Elves. It's probably going to be an absolute smash, but we'll see anyway. Okay, so we are restarting this fight because I noticed something that was super cool and I just completely fumbled my words. So we're going to go ahead and play the battle out like we normally would. I guess it doesn't really matter who we attack here. I'm really hoping we get some HP reduction. There we go. Check this out. I don't want to click on you. He gets a halo. When they trigger the leadership ability at this 75, 50, 25%, I don't know if it changes, but to show you that it's active, he gets a halo. I thought it was so cool. All right, let's go use our Stellar Rain. Or Light Cyclone, sorry, not Stellar Rain. And Tyros has his wonderful halo as well. Okay, we're going to go ahead and use our second ability. We've got our Desertion applied. So this is Benedict. I did not know who... I don't think it really matters. We're going to go ahead and cast our third ability. Get some big damage out. Nice. He gets a halo as well. That's so cool. Okay, who are we going to attack here? Let's get rid of Lokia. I guess it doesn't matter. There we go. Nice. Big damage. Kill a target here. I'll kill 2 targets. Nice. We're going to get rid of the Drake. Big heal. Get rid of the Lokia. And just Azariel left. Oh, that was awesome. That's cool. I love that. Little things like that are just such a treat. There you go. Again, it's not a super duper meta team that we versed, but just good to see a bit of synergy in how they work. There you go. There is the spotlight for Lucius. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. Wherever you're on the world. Until next time, please take care of yourself.